And I'll start your reading right now for Taurus. So the first card you have, your past, is the Chariot. Okay, this is going to sound a bit strange already before I've even started. I'm seeing two worlds here. I'm seeing two worlds. I think you have a really, really rich inner world, a really deep spiritual inner world. And I think you can only show that side of yourself to very few people. There are a lot of people around you who might, raise an eyebrow or something if they knew what your inner world was like, or your spiritual world. I don't know if you live somewhere where people have rigid religious ideas, it might be that, and they don't match up with your ideas, or just some other ideas that they have that kind of don't fit with yours. And I think part of you wants to keep yourself protected from any kind of negative talk because of these different beliefs. The man on this card's sort of protected, he has this barrier around him. But he's also really strong, he's really determined. If you look at his face, you can see how strong and determined he is. So I also think there's a part of you that's kind of also a bit, well, who cares what they think? I'll say whatever I like. So you kind of go up and down between the two. Sometimes you're like, well, I just don't need the aggravation. I just don't need people's opinions. I'm just going to protect myself from them. I'm just going to keep my head down, mind my own business. I'm not saying anything. Then there's another part of you that's like, well, I don't care. I'm going to show my opinion. I'm going to say whatever I like. So you go up and down between the two. So I know this is in the past, but I think there might be, okay, this is what I'm seeing, so just be careful. There might be an incident coming up where you're a little bit too open about your beliefs and it might affect someone close to you. I don't know whether this is a family member, whether it's your partner, someone close to you. So now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you should censor yourself or anything like that. I think people should be free to express whatever they want to express, say whatever, as long as it doesn't hurt other people. But with this situation, there might be a possibility of this person who's close to you maybe being penalized in some way. And, it's unfair that they'd be treated like this or treated differently or penalized. The situation is not fair. They shouldn't be treated like that. But the situation is just what it is. There are a lot of things in the world that I'd like to change, but the world is the way it is sometimes, and you just have to try and, work with what you have. So if this is all resonating with you, I think this is about someone who's younger than you, actually. Just play this carefully. There's a time and a place for talking about different kinds of things. You're a really, really strong person. I think you do like to speak your mind quite a lot about different things. And I love that about you. I'm Aries. I love straightforward people. But I'm not this person that I'm seeing in this reading who isn't going to like what you have to say. So, I think their narrow views are wrong. I think they do have some kind of very narrow views. I don't agree with them, but you're not dealing with me, you're dealing with them, sadly. So, there are times when, it's wise to speak up, and there are times when it's wise to not say very much at all. And I think this is one of these times. So, if this is resonating and this incident comes up, where you're around some people who you think might have an influence over someone or something, just smile and nod at them, maybe. So the next card you have for your past is the Devil. Yes, the ugly. I was going to say horrible, ugly and horrible. So I said ugly and horrible. Yeah, he is horrible. If I see him at the top of the pile of cards, if he's sitting at the top, I always put him at the bottom. I hate looking at him. So yeah, so anyway, I won't be silly anymore. I'm actually getting this feeling that I think deep down you might want to move away from somewhere, moving. You might want to move from where you are, where you're living, maybe. Yeah, I think you've thought about this. I think you've thought about this a few times. I'm actually seeing you going online every now and again, looking at places. I think there is something or someone keeping you where you are, though. It might be more than one thing, or it might be a person. It's not a horrible place where you are. It's not horrible, but it's not horrible. But I think you do feel a little bit like a fish out of water where you are, and that's kind of what I was seeing in the Chariot. You kind of don't fit in. you know, I think maybe when you first arrived, you probably felt that even then. You probably moved in or stayed there or whatever, and then you thought, oh, I don't think this is quite the right place. I just don't feel right about this. There's something about this. That's the kind of thing. So I'm actually getting a feeling that you'd love to just take off and travel, maybe, and maybe even internationally. Yeah, when I say internationally, there's some reason why you're not able to do that. I'm just looking at this Chariot and the Devil together. So maybe there are some regrets around why you feel that you can't do that, or something like that. Something happened, I think, that kind of stopped you from doing that. I don't know what that is, but there's a regret around that, not being able to travel, move, something. But yeah, you can definitely move from where you are, even if you don't move internationally. I don't know if you have family or a job that you don't feel that you can move away from. It might be that. But, you know, these things can always be done. You know, people move for their jobs all the time and for all sorts of other reasons as well. So if you truly want this, you can do it. I mean, look at these poor people chained to this ugly old devil. They have chains, but the chains are loose around their necks. You know, they can take them off and walk away if they want to. So I'm not saying, you know, this is really easy for you. You can just take the chain off and walk off. But it can be done. So I'm also seeing here that, you know, you do have a lot of success coming up in a lot of areas of your life. I'm actually seeing financial success coming up for you. So I think if you don't address whatever this problem is and this yearning for moving or whatever, I think you're going to start to feel really imbalanced in your life. You know, one side's not going to fit the other side, and it's going to make this feel even more apparent to you that you're going to have to move. So, you know, maybe this incident in the Chariot where, you know, where you can't speak your mind, that might be the catalyst for this change. That might make you think, right, that's it, I'm going to move, I can't stand this anymore. I don't know, but I think this needs to be addressed in some way if this is all resonating with you. So the last card you have your past is the Eight of Swords. Yes. Yeah, this is really interesting that this is here. Because this card could be about censorship, not being able to say things. It can be about feeling trapped, obviously. And if you look at this woman, she's away from her home. So it's about wanting to move away, but not being able to. So it's really summing up everything I'm seeing in all these past cards here. And I often see swords as words. You know, if you take the S away from sword, you have word. So I think you probably had a lot of words in your head at this time telling you to kind of hold off on this move, maybe. Don't do this now. You know, maybe you're thinking something like, oh, I'll just stay for another year while this happens, or I'll just stay here until this is over or that's over or whatever. There's always going to be something that's going to come up that's in the way of you doing what you want to do. And I am feeling quite strongly that you do need some freshness. You need newness in your life around this. So again, you have success coming up for you. You do. And I actually think this success could be even bigger or greater if you'd recognize that inner call to be somewhere else, because you'll feel so much more comfortable if you do make this change, comfortable in yourself, more confident, able to express yourself, be freer, be yourself, and that will help in your success as well, you know, in your confidence, in your mind, you know, emotionally. So, you know, I think this is something you've always wanted, actually. And I think, actually, what I'm seeing is when you first moved in to where you are now, I don't think you're in charge of things. Maybe it wasn't where you wanted to move. Maybe someone else was in charge. Maybe you're forced to be there for a job. There's some kind of reason why you weren't in control of where you moved to totally. But you are now. That's what I'm saying. You're in control of things now. And so now the only thing that's stopping you are these thoughts, these words in your head. That's what I'm seeing. So the first card you have your presence, the Five of Cups. Yes. Yeah, I think this is about moving. It's time for you to move away from a lot of things you don't want to have around you. I think this is about taking a break from people, actually. I'm seeing a few people. Actually, I'm seeing certain people coming to you with different problems, wanting advice. I'm actually seeing a lot of people here, but there are two specific people that I can see. And I think they might be draining you, actually. You know, you do absorb a lot of different people's energies. And with everything else that's on top of you now, you know, I think it just might be a little bit too much for you right now. If you look at this cape that this man's wearing, you know, obviously it's a black cape. So, you know, if you've ever worn black on a hot day, or, you know, this is a better example, if you've ever sat in a black car after it's been sitting in the sun for a long, long time, black absorbs the heat, and that feeling of being in a hot car can just be overwhelming and stifling. It's like, I can't breathe, I want to get out, I want the fresh air, you know, it can be unbearable. So I think you really should try to distance yourself from a few people before it starts to become unbearable and overwhelming for you. There's definitely one specific person I'm seeing here who's talking to you quite a lot. And yeah, they're exhausting because they're just not listening to you properly. It's almost as if they're determined to see the negative in everything. And every time you try to come up with a solution, you know, they have an excuse. They can't see, you know, the two full cups that are in front of this, or sorry, behind this man. They can only see the empty ones, the spilt ones that are in front of him. So yeah, if this is all resonating, whatever you do, at least get some time away from these people. You know, this is another example of you having to take control of it before it takes control of you. You can control things. You're more in control of a lot of things in your life than you actually feel as if you are. So, you know, it's up to you. You've got to make these decisions. The next, it's a bit dark. I don't know why it's a bit dark. Anyway, wasn't. The lights are still on. Okay, I don't know. The next card you have your presence, the King of Cups. Maybe that's why it's dark. The King of Cups can be a bit negative sometimes, but I don't think this is in this reading. Yeah, I'm seeing a similar thing to what I was seeing in the Pisces reading, actually, in this card. I don't know if you're dealing with a Pisces romantically, because sometimes these readings can be, you know, they can come out in reverse. So it doesn't have to be that. I just noticed that. It doesn't have to be a Pisces. So there is a fish. There's a fish around his neck. Anyway. There's someone around you, and yeah, this is a love connection. I think they're either not expressing how they feel, or they might be holding back in some way. I'm actually seeing someone who compartmentalizes things, different areas of their life. You know, maybe when it comes to one area, if they're having problems in one area, it's a bit stressful, they kind of shut the lid on that and ignore that, and then they concentrate on other things, you know, areas where they're happy or they feel better, or things they can control, if that makes sense. And I think that's what they're doing right now. They're shutting things off. You know, this king's surrounded by water. He has all this emotion around him, but he's separating himself from it. He's shutting himself away from it. He's on an island. So I think there might be some kind of emotional issues that this person doesn't want to face, and they know the issues are there, they know they're there, but they're just shutting themselves off. They're not dealing with them. They might have their head buried in the sand or something like that. So obviously it's not fun to be around someone who doesn't want to face up to things, especially emotional issues or whatever. And I think their behaviour might be bothering you a little bit more than it actually should be. Don't think I'm trying to dismiss you. I'm not just saying, oh, you're just feeling nothing. It's nothing. Don't worry about it. That's not what I'm saying. There are some genuine concerns here. But I think you might have had another kind of a King of Cups kind of person in your past. And that person wasn't facing up to things, but that was hiding a lot of, you know, some more deeper issues than I'm seeing here. I think their behaviour was hiding other things. I'm not seeing any of that happening with this person. So if this is resonating, try not to let this trigger you. You know, this is a completely different person, a completely different kind of person. There are things that need to be addressed here, but it's a completely different issue from what was happening in the past. So, you know, don't let your past influence your emotions now. This is completely different. Keep them separate. The last card you have in your presence, the Eight of Wands. Yeah, I'm seeing a few different things in this card. Obviously, this is going to be about travel, movement, rapid movement. So again, this is a reminder that, you know, if you want to move, you can definitely do this. You know, absolutely. There's nothing holding you back if that's what you want to do. Also, you know, if you want to travel abroad, which is what I was seeing before, there's a way of being able to do that as well. I keep on seeing that, you know, there's something that you'd really love to be able to do, but for some reason you feel as if you can't. And I think there's a practical reason why that is. Whatever that is, it can absolutely be changed. You can absolutely change that and fix that and move on from that. So tackle that as well if you can. This is also showing me this bombardment with these people needing your help, draining your energy. So again, try to remove yourself from, you know, as much of that as you can. Give yourself the headspace so that you can start to help yourself instead of helping other people all the time. This is the time for you to make some choices, make some decisions about helping yourself, changing areas of your life, because there's another part of your life, probably financial, it's going to take off. I see that all the time, and I'm seeing it all over this reading. And you're going to have to take control of these other areas so that you can do this other thing properly, so that you're not having all these things in your head. I'm seeing that again and again and again. The first card you have for your future is the Three of Pentacles. Okay, so I'm actually getting the feeling that there might be someone else in the way of your partner expressing themselves to you. It's this compartmentalizing that I keep on seeing, different categories in their life. Now, I'm not seeing a third party. I know the Three of Pentacles can be about that sometimes. I'm actually seeing a family around this. I'm seeing three people in a family. I'm looking at this King of Cups again, and okay, I'm seeing something really specific here. Someone walked away from a family situation, someone who's really angry, and they've left a lot of really bad feeling behind. And I think your partner might be having to deal with the aftermath of all of that. You know, I'm actually seeing them trying to help someone or protect someone from this. It's taking up a lot of their headspace, a lot of their time. And I think they know there's an issue with this relationship. I think they know they have to deal with that, but their head's probably full of all this other thing. I'm not making excuses. I'm seeing this really clearly. Someone's angry, someone's left someone, and yeah, they're trying to deal with whatever's left behind. And maybe they're having to support this person. They want to support them. They're very close to whoever this is. And yeah, this is just one of a lot of different things they have in their mind. So they're trying to compartmentalize all these different things they have in their mind, because I think if they let them all merge together, it'll be this great, big, huge, overwhelming thing, and they won't be able to cope. So that's why they're doing that. Again, I'm not making an excuse for them. I'm just pointing out what I'm seeing. So that's what I'm seeing that's going on with them. So the next card you have in your future is the Three of Swords. Yes. Yeah, I think you might actually find yourself having to take care of them, your partner, you know, having to listen to them. Yeah, this is what I'm seeing. They're going to come to you with all of this, all these problems and everything, and they're going to want support themselves. They're being supportive of someone they care about, and they're going to need someone who's supportive of them as well. There's some relationship in their family, or someone in their family is just really broken, like this heart on this card, and your partner's helping, but they're also going to need help as well. So look at the Three Swords. They're helping another person, you're helping them, three people. So yeah, I think at this time you might just have to put all of these other problems aside while you help them out. It's not going to last forever, and you do love this person, you do care about them, so you probably are going to want to do that anyway. So yeah, I can see that you really do care about them. So the last card you have for your future is the Three of Cups. So there's threes in your future. But yeah, this is something completely different. I'm really, really happy to see this here. I think this is a reminder that, you know, while you're going through all these emotionally draining things and everything, and you're having to help your partner and everything else, this is showing you that there is this success in front of you. I've seen this all through this reading. Don't lose sight of that. I think you know what this is. I think you're working on this. You're moving toward this. And so try to keep your eyes on where you want to be as much as you can. Sorry about that noise. I thought these noises had stopped when I moved, but they followed me. So yes, try to keep your eyes on, basically keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your eyes on where you're heading. I'm seeing financial success coming up for you. I keep on seeing that. This card's about an abundance, and these women are celebrating this abundance. You know, of course, help people, and especially help your partner if this is all resonating with you. But take some time out, spend some time on planning these goals. Don't get lost in all of this. I'm just looking at this Five of Cups again. Help people, but don't absorb everyone's negative energy all the time. Give yourself breaks, meditate, do what you need to do. Keep your head clear and keep your energy clear for this success. Because if you don't have this success, you're not going to be able to help yourself, and you're not going to be able to help as many people as you will be if you do get this success, if that makes sense. That sounded a bit jumbled. Sorry about that. So, Taurus, I hope this resonated. As you know, general readings can't always resonate with every single Taurus in the whole world. But if you like this reading, please like or subscribe or leave a comment if that's what you'd like to do. Thank you so much for watching.